I'm Kyle Madson, and joining us now is a second Kyle Draper, play-by-play voice for the Kings, does Kings pre and post on NBC Sports California. And Kyle, obviously we have to dive into talking about this excellent series, but how many people sent you that story of the city in Kyle, Texas, trying to get the Guinness World Record for most Kyles in one place? I got it like 12 or 13 times.
Yeah, exactly, man. My Twitter mentions blew up on that one, you know. And if my Sacramento Kings weren't doing so well, I might have hopped on the flight. You know what I mean? I might. So no, that was cool, man. I was like, okay, it's about time us Kyle get some love.
Yeah. You said something fascinating on Twitter about this series, and there's a ton to talk about with the game and stuff tonight, and we'll get to that. But do you feel like some of the heat between the media on both sides, the Warriors and the Kings, has cooled off? And why do you think it got ratcheted up so intensely?
Yeah, I think it's cooled off a little bit, with the media, but the fan bases are still, going overboard. And I'm not sure if it's just the proximity. This is the first time, going against the Warriors in the playoffs. And, Warriors fans are a different breed. I'm finding out the hard way, based on these mentions. But, it's like, all these weird conspiracy theories and whining. And it's just, it just got to be overload, man. And I was like, what is happening here? It's supposed to be basketball, fun. But, I never thought really that the Kings Warriors was a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it when their fans show up at Golden One Center. That bothers me, and I'll call it out. And I hate it. But I didn't think there was no animosity really. But this is like Lakers fans or something, like the hatred, Kings fans have for Warriors fans now, and vice versa. It's like before we had a common enemy in the Lakers.
Right.
Now we hate each other. It's gone overboard, man.
What up, Kyle? How you doing, man? Good to talk to you again.
What's up?
Who are you looking to right now to step up for Sacramento? Obviously, Domantas Sabonis hasn't quite looked himself. Kevin Huerter struggled from the perimeter. Finally got a good game out of Keegan Murray. Who are you looking to step up tonight?
I think it has to be Kevin Huerter's turn. We've seen great games from Malik this series. We've seen Keegan Murray have a good game. Where's Kevin Huerter been at? His shot isn't falling, and I thought in Game 4, in the previous game, he was at least getting to the mid-range area, the paint area, and making things happen. And in Game 4, he was nowhere to be found. And I'm a firm believer that if the Kings are going to win, either Malik or Kevin Huerter have to be on fire, have to be knocking down shots, because that changes this whole team. We know Fox is going to be Fox, hopefully, with that finger. He'll be, his usual self. Domas, I would like to see more from, but Domas is never going to be that 30-point, 20 rebound kind of guy. He's more, 22 and 17, something like that. And so, but I think really Kevin Huerter, man, the pressure that he puts on the defense, with the dribble handoffs, with his outside shot, his ability to create as well. I think that's what's been missing in this series, and I look for him to have a big game tonight.
Talking with Kyle Draper, voice of the Kings on NBC Sports California, also a pre- and post-game host at NBC Sports California. I've been in favor of, I was kind of leaning this direction, and then I went all in on moving Kevin Huerter to the bench, starting Davion Mitchell. That puts Mitchell on Steph Curry, which I think he's done a really good job. That puts that matchup on the floor more often. And it takes Kevin Huerter, who's shooting it at 14% from three in this series, takes him out of the lineup and puts him on the bench. How do you feel about that type of move?
I understand it, because you bring your best on-ball defender, put him in the starting lineup right from the jump against Steph. Kevin Huerter hasn't been playing well. But with that being said, when you look at that starting lineup, if you make that move offensively, it really messes with your flow. And you still have to pay attention to Kevin Huerter. Even though he's not hitting, the reason why Fox is able to get to the basket, Sabonis is able to operate is because you have that spacing. I don't know if they would respect Davion's offense enough. And so while it may help your defense, I think offensively, it may challenge you. I don't think Mike Brown makes a change at all, though. I think he sticks to, I mean, think about it. He never made a change at all other than health reasons throughout the season. When Keegan Murray was struggling, he kept Keegan in that starting lineup. And we were thinking, man, maybe it might be time to put Keegan on the bench for a few games. But he stuck with his guy. And I think, don't be surprised if Kevin Huerter comes out and gets the first couple of plays called for him, first couple of actions for him, some of that dribble handoff, just to try and get him going. And I also like bringing in Davion off the bench to guard Steph, because then Steph has already used up a little bit of energy. Then you got this bulldog coming out there. And then, for the rest of the game, you could play match minutes or whatever it is. But there's no doubt that Davion, and we saw it the other day, what was he at, 27, 28 minutes, something like that? Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to be out on the floor. Right. I mean, I just don't know about starting.
Right. Yeah. No, you're completely right. That Kings starting five has played over 900 minutes all season together, and that's most by far. So Mike definitely likes to keep those guys on the floor together and doesn't really like to shake that up. Now, Kyle, we know Game 5 is obviously tonight. Game 6 will be held in San Francisco in the Bay Area, where the Warriors have only lost 8 times all season long. Do you think tonight is a must-win for the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, I think so. I just think, with the Warriors' experience, knowing what's at stake, knowing how to close out teams, I mean, I think the pressure tonight is squarely on Sacramento. Even though the Kings have been a great regular season road team, I just think going down there to chase with so much on the line, I just can't see the Warriors crapping themselves and this coming back to 7. So I think they got to get it done tonight, because then you go down to Golden State. Let's say you lose tonight, then all the pressure is on you. They have all the momentum. They beat you 3 straight times now if they win tonight. And so I think it's a must win. I think we'll see our best version of the Sacramento Kings tonight. And when I say that, I mean everybody clicking, like one of those 40-point quarters, one of those, big time runs. I think it's going to happen tonight.
Love that.
Do you think there's, as we talked to Kyle Draper, NBC Sports California, do you think there's any noticeable change in De'Aaron Fox's game?
No, I haven't noticed anything. I think, if anything, maybe he's taken a few more threes, outside shots than I would like. But, I thought in Game 4 he was magnificent. He was clutch. He knocked down. Every time he takes a three, I'm like, man, I don't know if that's a good shot. Then he makes it. Right. And so I'm like, hey, he has supreme confidence in his outside shot, and I appreciate that. But I would love to see him getting downhill a little more, getting into the paint, getting to that foul line jumper that he's so clutch at late in games. And so I haven't noticed much of a difference in his game, other than maybe he's taking a few more threes off the dribble than I would like.
So do you think now with the finger injury, we maybe see him get downhill more and not rely so much on the outside shot?
Well, that's a great question, because then you got to worry about getting a hit. He said, "Thank you." You're welcome. you got to worry about it getting hit, though. You go into the paint, a lot of contact. Is he, worried about that? I think we'll see regular De'Aaron Fox. Listening to him yesterday and the way he was talking, he seemed like he wasn't fazed at all, wasn't worried or bothered by it at all. And so I do think, throw out the finger. I'm just talking straight game plan. I think it's going to be, stress to him to get into the paint and kick out for those spray threes that they love to hit. And so I think you'll see a much more aggressive driving to the basket De'Aaron Fox tonight.
Love that. We know Game 4 was viewed by tons of people, 10 million viewers, the most viewed round 1 series game. I expect Game 5 might break that record. Why do you think that there's so many eyeballs and outsiders tuning in for this series?
I just think, when you obviously you got the Steph Curry factor.
That helps.
No doubt about it. That helps. You got the Warriors, they were on the ropes after losing the first 2 games. You got the Kings, to me, which has been the best story in the NBA this entire season. They play a fantastic brand of basketball. And when you look at, outside of yesterday, when you look at some of the other series in the NBA, they haven't been as contested, hotly contested as this Kings-Warriors series. And so I think you got the young upstart Kings looking to knock off, Goliath here, sort of a David versus Goliath matchup. And I think people are interested in seeing the Warriors get beat.
One last thing here for you, Kyle. You worked in Boston, grew up as a Laker fan, and I want to kind of end this where we started. Are we officially at Kings Warriors rivalry level? Like, this is going to be a thing moving forward?
I think so, because I don't think the Kings are going anywhere. It's not like, this is a one-off season and they fall off the map. I think, what you're seeing now, the fan base has always been great, but let's be honest, you go to Golden One Center during the regular season, and it's probably 40% Warriors fans. I can't see that being that way, because I think the Kings will be competitive from here on out in future seasons. And I think, with the Kings being the only game in town, those tickets are going to be at a premium. And so I just think, from a fan base standpoint, man, if we can win this series, if the Kings can win this series, then we got a real rivalry. Then we're not little brother anymore. Yeah. We knocked off Steph and the Warriors. But I think so. In the eyes of Warrior fans, they probably don't consider it a rivalry because, the Kings haven't accomplished anything. But, I've only been here 2+ years, and I'll be honest. Warriors fans piss me off, guys.
Right there with you, Kyle. Right there with you.
Just the arrogance and just it just bothers me. And when they show up at our arena, Golden One, it just gets under my skin. And so, it may not be a rivalry for the players, but for me, it's a rivalry.
For sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, Kyle, thanks so much for taking time out. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Hey, we got to hit the break.